That's right, folks. What the fuck is up? What the fuck is up? This is the News Underground, and I am Abandoned Nihilism coming at you from our little cabin. I don't own it, of course. Airbnb. Hold on. What? No.
They are illusions in hell. The devil brings illusions.
Can't see shit.
But I've seen these with corpses on the back.
Thank you. Big props to DJ PlayStation motherfucking set. And of course, we got 6 Extermination here with Soul Collectors. Wonderful beat. Just get that tipping just a little bit. Turn it down over here. So how's everybody doing? Chem Goblin's trying to geolocate me. I'm still in Canada. So yeah, this is it's a it's a special day. I won't devolve too much, but it's a special day. So I'm on vacation, so it's going to be a quick stream. I guarantee you, it's going to be about an hour. But just thought, bang out a stream. There's a lot of great news. I have time for a couple extra clips. So if there's a clip or a news story that you would like me to talk about, I'll give you one clip. Everybody gets one clip. But yeah, we're here at a cabin that I like to rent out. As you can see, it's absolutely gorgeous. I got a mountain in front of me, and I got a river behind me. And that's just what you get with Canada. It's really great. But let's jump right into the news, folks. Not here to dilly-dally, not here to waste time. Yeah, it's a vacation, but that doesn't stop the fascists. The fascists work 24/7. You think Nick Fuentes churns it off? He doesn't churn it off. Absolutely not. Hey, greetings from South Boston. It's your boy, Lenny. #1 financial contributor to the stream. Also going to be starting his own Twitch channel very soon, so look out for that, folks. Going to be a banger, I'm sure. Russian Black Sea Fleet HQ in Crimea got fucked today. Exactly. That's what we're going to be covering. I have 2 videos for Ukraine. So just a quick recap of what we're covering today. Greenbelt, amazing news from Canada, from Doug Ford. He's reversing his policy on the Greenbelt. So I'm very happy about this because it's everything that I talk about. It's everything that I talk about when it comes to how you can change politics. That politics can change. Am I on Mars? Mars, the red planet. The red planet. Okay, welcome back, Husky. Attackham's also going to Ukraine. Hell yeah, boy. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, we're going to be covering Doug Ford. We got to cover the chaos happening with the potential government shutdown. In fact, that's going to be our first story today. I don't know why I have this queued up as the second. It's actually the first story. And then, of course, we're going to be covering Ukraine as well. Sorry, continue. Your camera was refocusing. Oh, I see. Yeah, you might see boats and stuff fly by here on the river. Absolutely lovely. This is the 3rd time I've come here with the wife, and I love coming here. This is my little, my little hidey hole, my little heaven away from hell. Maybe your hue shifted. Well, it is, it is outside. That's what I'm saying, Davey. It's like there's not a speck of red. I guess there's a little red on my shirt. The red planet. No, that's fine, Husky. We're just teasing you. You're welcome back, of course. Welcome back, everybody. So let's dig right into it. We're going to jump off with the government shutdown Rokana news. Not Rokana news, sorry. The government shutdown news. What's interesting here is, like what we saw during the Trump administration, the extreme faction is slowing down actual progress because it only has one mode. Matt Gaetz only has one mode. Josh Hawley only has one mode. Obstruct. They don't know how to work with other politicians. They don't want to work with other politicians. They basically just want to be king and rule by fiat. And it works well to obstruct the neoliberals. It makes the neoliberals look weak, makes them look like pieces of shit. But it also works really well against their own party. And that's what we see here. They got one technique. They got, they just hit the obstruct button until they get what they want, until things go their way. I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Maya Angelou. And we have a plane going overhead, so you might hear that. I'm not sure who the philosopher, who the author that said it was, but they said it's easier to destroy than it is to create. And that's what we see here with these mediocre simpletons, fascistic mediocre simpletons like Matt Gaetz. They're really good at wrecking shit. They're really good at breaking shit and stopping progress and getting in the way. But when it comes to Micah's great, the only thing we hear is you. Okay, great. I'm trying to keep it away from my mouth so that it's not distorting. But because I love to put the fucking thing right up on my mouth, and it's like, no, you got to back it up, dude. So thank you, Chem Goblin. But back to what I'm saying here, they only have one tool in their toolbox. It's a very effective tool because it's interesting. The founding fathers didn't really plan for this. They didn't really plan for a party that was intent on destroying the system. They kind of assumed that whatever the party is, and they actually wanted a lot of different parties and parties to change all the time. That was the idea. They didn't really want two parties that were dominant. But God damn it, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, okay, so let's get to it here. Rep. Ro Khanna on chaos and House shutdown as the House shutdown nears. I definitely think they're going to shut down the government to try and get what they want. It hasn't worked. It only worked like once. I think it really only worked really, really well that first time. And now, ever since the Democrats kind of called their bluff a while back, I think it was during the Obama administration, they called their bluff. Ever since then, it hasn't been a very effective tool. It's actually been an effective political tool against the Republican Party. It makes them look, like what they are, a bunch of fascistic obstructionists. So let's dig in. Let's see what Rep. Ro Khanna has to say. And yeah, it's democracy now, but you know what? It's a damn good interview. It's a nice chunky 10-minute interview with Ro Khanna on the shutdown. It's not some 3-minute MSNBC Joe Scarborough cut over to Willie for 2.5 minutes and then get 30 seconds with the guests interview. It's a legitimate interview, so we're going to listen to it. Let's jump in.
This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman. We turn now to Congress in the shutdown showdown. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's accused right-wing extremists in the House of wanting to, quote...
Yeah, I know. The volume is incredibly low. Sorry, I got to do all this at once. And I'm not quick enough.
This is Democracy Now! I'm Amy Goodman. We turn now to Congress in the shutdown showdown.
There we go.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's
What's going to happen during the shutdown? Well, let's find out.
The House of wanting to, quote, burn the whole place down.
Yeah.
After a handful of Republican hardliners rebelled and blocked a Pentagon spending bill, it's become increasingly likely the federal government will shut down October 1st because fighting within the Republican caucus has prevented McCarthy from being able to pass any spending bills. On Thursday, McCarthy sent lawmakers home for an extended weekend. This is House Speaker McCarthy talking to reporters Thursday after the latest setback.
It's frustrating in the sense that I don't understand why anybody votes against bringing the idea and having the debate.
Hey, if you're going to talk about the border in the chat, provide some sources that are not right-wing. Because the right-wing, gaslights on the border and immigration and scaremongers on immigration. I mean, literally, that's how Trump started his campaign, was scaremongering on immigration. So if you got some kind of actual proof of a real terrorist coming through the border, you better provide some sources that aren't from Breitbart. Okay? So go ahead and prove what you're talking about in the chat, please, Husky.
Orders Thursday after the latest setback.
It's frustrating in the sense that I don't understand why anybody votes against bringing the idea and having the debate. And then you got all the...
You don't get it, huh?
This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down.
Oh, it's a whole new concept. Isn't it funny? He's like, oh, they're using all the tools that we've been using against the neoliberals this whole time, and it sucks. They won't even let us have a debate on the topic, guys. What is this? I've never experienced this before. Because Republicans are used to working with the milquetoast neoliberals who actually still want government to function somewhat. You know what I mean? So they're not used to being up against a Matt Gaetz style politician. They're up against Hakeem Jeffries, who's like, well, how can we work together? I know there's a way we can reach across the aisle. You know, after getting punched in the face 50 times, he's still like, well, it's okay. You know, that's just how it is. And we're still looking forward to having a strong Republican Party that we can have a robust debate with. So he's used to working with those sons of bitches. But this is what happens when he's up against his own party.
The latest setback.
Listen to this.
It's frustrating in the sense that I don't understand why anybody votes against bringing the idea and having the debate. And then you got all the amendments if you don't like the bill. This is a whole new concept.
It's the monster you created, you bitch.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. That's the point. That's how it works. That's... It doesn't work. We're not making any progress. Sounds like it's working. Sounds like it's fucking working, actually.
Now from the Kennan Rotunda in Washington, D.C. by Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna to talk about the possible shutdown as well as the UAW strike and other issues. Congressmember, welcome back to Democracy Now! So what does this shutdown mean if it were to happen? And talk about whether you think House Speaker McCarthy is going to lose his position as Speaker.
Amy, it's chaos here. The sad thing is it has a real impact on America.
I love how he opened that. It's chaos here. There won't be a shutdown. You don't think so? I don't know. I think Matt Gaetz wants it, at least for a couple days. You know, Matt Gaetz wants to shut it down. Absolutely. 100%. Matt Gaetz wants to shut it down. How, Davey, though, I'm curious. Why do you think that there won't be a shutdown? It'll all be signed at the 11th hour? Yeah, because McCarthy's in charge, you know, because McCarthy's still, I'm telling you, he's the last bit of the Mitch McConnell party. You know, he's the last bit of the Mitch McConnell wing of the Republican Party. I mean, he's it. Once the leader, the speaker, goddamn B coming at me. Once the speaker is a Matt Gaetz character, once, you know, it's all over, folks. It's all over.
Americans, if you need a Social Security check or you need something from the government, now it's a 35-minute wait time. It could be hours wait time to get anyone if the government shuts down. Our military would not get paid if we cannot pass a defense appropriation bill. Millions of workers in the federal government wouldn't get paid. Now, they may get back pay, but if someone is living on $50,000, $60,000, how are they going to pay rent? How are they going to pay mortgage? So it is highly irresponsible. Just this morning, we finally have one Republican, Mike Lawler, saying that he may side with Democrats, sign a discharge petition to get the government funded. If we can get 5 or 6 reasonable Republicans to do that, we can avert this crisis.
For UK News.
McCarthy has just
Give me
failed to do
one link
the
for
most
UK
basic
News.
function of a Speaker of the House: keep the government open and functioning.
What does it mean when the government shuts down? Explain who gets affected right off October 1st.
Well, all the federal work.
Okay, Davey, that I don't necessarily disagree with you, but haven't the Republicans shut down the government like 3 times? Haven't they done this? They do this charade every time, but haven't they legitimately shut down the government like 2 or 3 times? So I don't know. I don't know if you, hey, what up? Welcome back. Hey, I love to see all these OGs coming back. New person, Ford the Perfect. Thank you for coming back. I do appreciate it. Welcome back, everybody. But I mean, haven't these clowns shut down the government more than once? It's been more than once, right?
Workers get affected, as I pointed out. Military personnel would not be paid. You would not get pay if you're a federal employee. This will impact the level of services that people get at the parks. It'll impact the level of services they get if you need a Social Security check or you need a government assistance for anything. It will impact our immigration services at a time where the Republicans are screaming,
exactly.
saying
Thank you,
that we are
Leon.
not processing immigration cases fast enough. This would slow slow that down. So it would just be a total self-inflicted injury that would make life much harder for ordinary Americans, particularly for people who serve in our military or in the federal government in any way.
You talk about the military. You also have what's going on in the Senate right now with the Alabama former football coach, now Senator Tuberville, stopping the confirmation of top military officials. Explain how that works in coupling with the surprise that House Republican members are no longer supporting funding the military.
Well, look, to the extent that there's
and Amy loves that. I mean, she's smiling because it's like wow, what strange bedfellows here. I'm getting my wish. I might get the military defunded. But it might be Matt Gaetz doing it.
Some House Republicans who are against the bloated Pentagon budget of $1 trillion, I welcome that. I mean, I
did see that, Ford. That is funny.
Lockheed Martin CEO about 40% profits on the Patriot system, and we definitely need accountability and strategic cuts in the defense contractor profits. The problem is you can't just
That's funny. Ro Khanna feeling all confident and has no problem talking about making cuts to military spending while on Democracy Now! I'd be curious to see if he says the same kind of things on MSNBC.
Cuts in the defense contractor profits. The problem is you can't just stop funding our military and stop paying the troops, and that's what the extreme Republicans are for. And you can't do what Senator Tuberville is doing, which is hold up the appointment of senior military leaders and officials. That is hurting the morale of the military, and if there were ever a conflict, it hurts our readiness. It's highly irresponsible, and to my knowledge, no senator has ever done that before, holding up senior military appointments. It shows the need for systematic reform of the United States Senate.
Congressmember.
Yeah, sure. But every time the Democrats are in charge, they don't do jack shit for reform. They talk about, we got to keep the sanctity of this, and we got to keep this, and we have to have one arm tied behind our back. That's just how things have always been done. So, yeah, I mean, nice words from Ro Khanna, but don't fucking don't hold your breath, buddy.
Khanna, let's talk about the historic United Auto Workers strike,
I agree,
which
Leon.
just marked a week since close to 13,000.
No, you got CNN. The new guy buys CNN. Everyone, it's so funny. Every time anyone buys CNN, their solution to CNN's viewing problems is go further to the right, appease the right more. They never, ever in a million years consider ever going to the left, and that's because of their corporate bias. And it's the same thing with MSNBC. You know, they'll flirt with the right. They'll, Megyn Kelly and shit like that. And let's mix it up. Let's get Jen Psaki from the fucking government to, be part of our fucking lineup. Oh, we think Jen Psaki's really great. Had a couple zingers, and now she's never going to leave us. Okay, great. Anyway, they always think going to the right is the solution when, they will never flirt around with the left because of their inherent corporate bias.
Auto workers walked off the job. Ahead of the strike, you co-authored an op-ed in The Guardian with UAW President
Why
Sean
not just
Fain,
someone from
where
the
you wrote,
CIA
quote, the
too,
climate crisis and income inequality.
Had the fucking CIA show on MSNBC. Here's just a direct pipeline from the fucking government. It's a joke. It really is an embarrassing joke. And they have Jen Psaki on like every fucking show. They're interviewing her every fucking week. And her show is called like The Inside Source. You don't work for the government. So I guess your whole shtick is that you used to work for the government. And dude, I swear to God, I've been watching a lot of MSNBC because of the Trump shit. Normally I ignore that shit. They interview the same 6 fucking people on every show, every single fucking day. I swear to God. Their lineup is like 6 fucking people in Joe Scarborough. It's insane.
Are the 2 greatest challenges facing our generation. This is a pivotal moment for the American economy and the workers that make it run. Corporations are pushing hard to use this moment to expand their power. We're mobilizing for a new model that puts working people, climate justice, and human rights before profit,
No, we can't have
the
that.
UAW president Sean Fain wrote. If you can talk about this, and former President Trump now heading to Detroit, he's attacking the UAW leadership, but saying he's supporting the workers, but going to try to drive a sort of wedge around the issue of electric vehicles, and saying this kind of climate change approach will make workers lose jobs.
Yeah, Leon, 100%.
Amy, Sean Fain is an American hero. He's not just
100%. I
speaking
totally
out
agree with
for
Rokana.
UAW. He's speaking out for what the working class has wanted for the last 4 decades. That's what I heard on the picket lines when I was out with UAW.
I don't know everything about Sean Fain. Like, I don't know if this is like a new thing for him or if he's been consistent on this and he finally has a position of leadership. But yeah, no, I'm a big fan of this guy. Everything I've seen from him in the UAW.
Members in Wayne, Michigan, and in Toledo, Ohio. I mean,
Ford, I saw an analysis that said his son is going to be taking over, and his son is even more right wing. So we might even see a harder fascistic shift to the right, probably trying to follow in the footsteps of OAN and, you know, News Nation and all that, just going further into that. But they have to be careful because of the lawsuits. The lawsuits are insane. Like, it's over $3 billion in lawsuits so far from all their falsehoods.
what Sean is saying is these CEOs are making $30 million.
Yeah, they had to, Ford.
To 1.
He's
the
a
median
liability.
Worker wage. That is up from 20 to 1 in the 1960s. These big 3 auto companies are making $21 billion in profits. They are taking that money
They have
and putting
the money.
$5 billion in buying their own stock to enrich their shareholders. And yet for workers, many of them are not whole from the cuts they had in 2008, where they voluntarily agreed to reduce their salaries because of the Great Recession. They still have not been made whole for that. It is wrong. It's a symptom of the gross income inequality in this country, and Sean Fain is finally standing up to it. He's going to win. There is no two sides to this.
They lost even more with the Smartmatic. They lost over $2 billion with the Smartmatic. They lost only $750 million with Dominion or something. It was just under $800 million or something.
They should agree to the increases that Sean Fain wants. In many cases, that's just going to bring people up to the 2008 levels if they're temporary or part-time workers. And I believe Donald Trump is just demagoguing the issue. His view that we should not have electric vehicles means that all those electric vehicles will be produced in China.
Thank you for following step 2.
Of course, we want to make sure that those electric vehicles are produced in the United States, not in China.
Listen
and we want
to
to make
Leon,
sure
folks.
that those jobs are good union jobs. That's what Sean Fain and UAW are fighting for.
Hakeem Jeffries walked the picket line. Do you think President Biden should? What do you feel about your colleague, Congressmember Debbie Dingell, who represents the Ford, the workers at the Ford plant that is on strike, saying that Biden should keep his distance?
Well, I thought Hakeem did a great job, and Catherine Clark coming out. I'd love to see other members of Congress go out to the picket line.
And here we have the fucking problem with Ro Khanna. You know, and this is the problem with these capitulating neoliberals. You're going to let Hakeem Jeffries pretend like that motherfucker is for the unions? Okay, dog. Okay, dog.
It would be good for President Biden to come out either to a union hall. He could go out to UAW Local 900 or to a picket line. I know the logistics are hard. I think what Congresswoman Debbie Dingell meant is that the president and his team shouldn't intervene in the negotiations.
Dingell, these
the
fucking
UAW
names, dude.
has the upper hand. We should strengthen that hand and side with them and not try to preempt their negotiation in having a deal that doesn't get what the workers really need.
Congressmember Khanna, you serve as co-chair of the Congressional Caucus on India and Indian Americans. Can you talk about?
I might have misheard him. There might have been a boat. I might need to take that shut the fuck up back. That's a 50% shut the fuck up. I'm not sure.
This growing dispute between Canada and India after the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau publicly accused Narendra Modi and the Indian government of assassinating a Canadian Sikh leader shot dead outside his temple in June. Canadian officials told AP Trudeau's claim was based in part on surveillance of Indian diplomats inside Canada collected by Five Eyes Intelligence Sharing Alliance. Can you respond to the allegation against Modi?
Well, there are, of course, very serious allegations, and I echo what Jake Sullivan and our State Department have said, that the United States
I am abandoned nihilism, the harbinger of things to come.
needs to cooperate in a transparent investigation, and we expect a transparent investigation, and then whoever the perpetrators are to be brought to justice. But there has to be full transparency, and there has to be all the facts that come out, and obviously they're very serious allegations, and I do think that Jake Sullivan and the State Department are taking it seriously.
California Congressmember Ro Khanna, we thank you so much.
And you got to love democracy now. No one, I mean, they have a tight, because they got to distribute this to a bazillion radio networks. So they have an extremely tight cutoff. And they've, they always do this. They run the interview until the very, very end of the show, almost never having time to give themselves credit or anything. No commercial breaks. I mean, look, Democracy Now! Has got some fucking problems with the Russian apologencia. And I hope the feedback that they're getting, I hope they're doing a deep think about that. And I hope Amy, because I've seen Amy Goodman kind of like trying to break through this tanky narrative a little bit in some of her interviews, but I'm not seeing her do enough, enough, in my opinion. So, wow, Amy told him to shut the fuck up. Well, she had no choice. She's got a really, really tight deadline. Anyway, oh, fuck, that's really loud. Sorry. So, yeah, so Davey doesn't think we're going to see the shutdown. We're going to see it at the last minute. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, like I said, though, if Matt Gaetz was in charge, I'm a Canadian immigrant. I'm a U.S. citizen. I'm immigrating into Canada. God, this is so good, it's distracting. This is too good. It's literally, the music's too good. I can't focus on what I'm saying. Oh shit. Fuck a hoe. Okay, here we go. Okay, something a little bit chiller, please. They fall for a narrative. Yeah. So you're American living in Canada. Yes. I'm an immigrant. I'm immigrating into Canada. I'm Benedict Arnold. I'm just trying to find that American dream. So I look north. It's not up here either, guys, by the way. Yeah, the capitalists fucking ruined everything up here already, guys. They fucked it up. But no, I think if Matt Gaetz was in charge, we would be seeing a government shutdown. And I think he would actually I think Matt Gaetz would let the currency collapse as well. I think he's willing to do it. I don't know if he works for a foreign agent or whatever, but I think Matt Gaetz would be absolutely willing to shut down the government. But because it's McCarthy, I don't think so. And I think he's gonna everyone's gonna have to. I mean, what happened? I mean, if they shut it down, I don't know. I mean, no, I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna go ahead and put my neck out there, make a prediction. Then I'm always wrong in these, by the way. I'm like consistently wrong. But no, I'm gonna predict that they're gonna shut down the government because Matt Gaetz is gonna make a point. Because he's all hot and bothered about that stupid agreement that McCarthy made at the beginning. Welcome back, OG Elites. Good to see you. Nothing happened to him after the pedo stuff. There's, it's all pending in trial, whatever. No, I'm not betting on this one. Nope. No, I'm not betting on this one. But I think Matt Gaetz is gonna make a point to McCarthy because he's butthurt about the broken deal. And Matt Gaetz knew that McCarthy was going to break that deal. He knew that was going to happen. All right, so thank you, Leon, for this link. I wanted to cover the UK news, and I forgot, but this actually is some great news out of the UK. Let me just get this shifted over here real quick. There we go. Still an essential worker, so government shutdown doesn't affect me. Oh, good. Recommend checking the comments too. We'll see if we have time. I really got to keep it tight here. So how Sunak's electoral gamble could backfire. So we're finally seeing Sunak, you know, get shit on. It took long enough, to be honest with you. You know, it really did take a while for Sunak to for all of his. I mean, he's just another terrible right wing corporatist. He's, you know, nothing. He hasn't accomplished anything, good or bad. You know, he's just been, I don't know, and now all this climate stuff. You know what? Actually, instead of doing this TLDR, because I'm going to have to do this TLDR. Well, I'll do a little bit of this TLDR, but I think I have a better, more succinct clip that I'd like to show you.
This video was brought to you by Imprint.
Okay.
On Wednesday, Rishi Sunak delivered a speech in which he scaled back a number of Britain's key net zero policies.
Yeah.
And in the process, upset a number of his own MPs, frustrated major businesses, and
yeah, I mean they've been, you know, and Keir Starmer hasn't had to do anything, dude, to be in that position. It's not like he's promising anything. He's certainly not going hard on Brexit. I mean, but you're following this a little closer. I mean, what are the things that Keir Starmer has really been hammering on? Because it certainly hasn't been Brexit.
and according to some, fired the starting gun on the next general election. So in this video, we'll take a look at the major net zero announcements, the backlash, the defenses, and explain the logic and pitfalls of this electoral strategy.
All right, so we're just going to do the beginning part here. I have a better, more succinct
If you like
video.
our videos and want to support the channel, then check out Too Long, our one-off newspaper. It's a fun collector's item. Video. Let's start by taking a look at the run-up to the news this week. On Tuesday, the BBC reported that Rishi Sunak was planning to announce that he would water down a number of key net zero related policies, with the speech potentially including things such as delaying the ban on the sale of new petrol and diesel cars and delaying the phase out of gas boilers. And it didn't take long for the criticism
macaroni
to
salad
start
with
coming
peas in
in,
it.
not just from Sunak's political opponents, but also from members of his own party. Now, in a bid to take control of the narrative, Sunak held an emergency cabinet meeting to get his new plans signed off, and then hastily arranged a press conference for Wednesday afternoon, much sooner than he seemingly intended. Interestingly, this all came just a day or so after former Prime Minister Liz Truss said in a speech that the government should delay a number of
that
key
is
net zero
depressing,
measures. Anyway,
Leon.
here are the key announcements
I'll
that
take it,
Sunak
though.
made in this rather rushed speech. Firstly, he reiterated that he was committed to the UK's legally binding target.
Yeah, isn't that great? He's like literally cutting things that would get them to net zero while also saying we're totally committed to net zero. Isn't that fucking hilarious? I get it that there's corruption, but instead of trying to reform things or fix things, he's using it. He's using greenifying as an excuse to cut green policies. It's, I mean, come on, man. He thinks we're fucking idiots. That's what it is. He thinks you and I are complete fucking morons. We're too busy watching fucking Succession on HBO or whatever the fuck to even pay attention to what he's up to. So he thinks he can get away with this fucking shit. And he just comes out here with the fakest fucking smile, chiclet teeth, bleach white chiclet teeth. You know, I can't, I'm going to be cutting green and that's going to help us get to that. We're still committed to net zero. I mean, come on, man.
Of reaching net zero emissions by 2050. But he also announced that he would be delaying the ban of sales of new petrol and diesel cars, pushing it back from 2030 to 2035, and pointing out that this is in line with the EU's own timeline. He also delayed the planned phase out of gas and oil boilers and introduced exemptions for certain households.
Like I said, you know, like I understand reforming it or making some tweaks, right? To be like, oh, we got like 3 million old people that can't afford new boilers and we don't want to hoist that cost on them. Let's try to figure out how we can pay for that. So we're going to, you know, we're going to give them an exemption. You know, and I understand, I would even understand the gas cars. It's like, hey, we don't have the infrastructure installed yet. We don't want to ban gas cars, but we don't have enough chargers or the electric. I mean, because you not only do you have to do chargers, but you also have to change the grid so that it has the increased capacity to deliver all this extra power to all these vehicles. So, I mean, I would understand both of those things, but no, he just delay. We're not doing them, you know, and where's the money going to go then? You know, where's it going to go? Are we going to talk about that?
As well as pledging to scrap policies that would force landlords to upgrade the energy efficiency of their homes.
Come on, dude. Come on. Oh, the mom and pop landlords. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. This is to save the multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar real estate companies that are scooping up every property that they can buy, and this would cost them billions of dollars if they had to go and improve their own properties. That's what this is about. It's so fucking transparent, man.
There were also some less controversial announcements too, including increasing the boiler upgrade grant from $5,000 to £7,500 and reforming the planning system so that it's easier and quicker for energy projects to be connected to the grid. Now, Sunak justified this entire policy shift by saying that because the UK is over-delivering on reducing emissions thus far, there is space to take a more pragmatic, proportionate, and realistic approach.
Oh, so he's saying, hey, well, no, we got to, you know, we're actually doing really well. We're on target. So let's go ahead and cut some things and make sure that we're falling behind like you would expect government to. Man, I fucking hate, I really do. I am just absolutely sick of conservatives. You know what I mean? And them just feeding us spoonfuls of shit and just with a big smile on their face and saying, yep, well, this is good for you, actually. This is good. Yeah, eat some more. Yum, yum. Oh, I eat it all day. No, you don't. You live in the lap of luxury. You're completely disconnected from all the shit, from the life that you're ruining for us. You're completely disconnected from this. Welcome back, Snow, by the way. I've actually been wearing off my drugs a lot faster than I thought. I'm still... Thanks. TMI, man. Keep it to yourself.
To reaching net zero.
Exactly, Leon. I totally
doesn't
agree.
Risk losing the consent of the public. Now, looking purely at the politics,
I'm so sick of
the
these
calculation
people.
Here is pretty clear. The government is seeking to make net zero a dividing line between them and Labour at the next election.
Terrible idea.
By
Terrible idea. Green policies are popular policies. No, that's an analogy to the delay. I see. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I kind of get the analogy now there, Snow. I get you. I thought it was a total non sequitur.
Albeit incredibly narrow victory in the recent Uxbridge by-election, during which the Conservatives made their opposition to expanding London's ultra-low emissions zone a key part of their campaign. The thinking is that if Conservatives can make the case that they're seeking to ease the burden on working people and families while painting Labour as the ones who will pursue a green agenda at the expense of those people,
you love me.
Perhaps they can eke out a victory at the coming election, just as they did in Uxbridge. However, this strategy may well backfire for a number of reasons. For starters, Conservative MPs and politicians are not united in this approach, as evidenced by the response to Sunak's announcement. Even before he made his speech, a number of prominent Conservatives voiced their concerns about the rumoured plans, including Tory MP and COP26 Summit President Alok Sharma, Tory MP and ex-Levelling Up Secretary Simon Clarke, and even former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who said, "We cannot afford to falter now or in any way
back. I gotta
lose
get
our
a power
ambition
cable for my laptop."
Country." And even after the speech, and even despite the fact that some of Sunak's measures were welcomed, there's still significant concerns about the headline announcements. Alok Sharma said he was concerned about the fracturing of the UK political consensus on climate action, adding that chopping and changing policies creates uncertainty and is bad for businesses and the public. While Simon Clarke said that a lot of straw men have been offered up which simply weren't policy, referring to the part of Sunak's speech where he said that he ruled out taxing meat, compulsory car sharing, and forcing homes to have 7 separate bins. all of which were never policies or ever even really seriously proposed. Meanwhile, Conservative MP and chair of the government's net zero review, Chris Skidmore, said that there was a complete lack of certainty, clarity and consistency over what the UK's net zero pathway is. On the same subject, the head of the Climate Change Committee, the UK's independent authority, said that it was wishful thinking from Sunak that the UK could still reach its net zero targets by 2050 under his revised measures. On the flip side, there were evidently a number of high-profile Conservatives who supported Sunak's actions, including Business Secretary Kemi Badenoch, Priti Patel, Jacob Rees-Mogg, former Prime Minister Liz Truss, and the Home Secretary Suella Braverman, who said,
the usual fucking cadre of people that are dedicated to destroying liberal democracy.
"We're not going to save the planet by bankrupting the British people."
Oh, shut up. Shut up. You know, and they equate taxing businesses and wealthy people as taxing the British people. They're so dishonest.
Nevertheless, beyond even just Parliament, Sunak's policy shift risks further damaging the Conservative government's business credentials, as a number of industry voices have criticised the plans. Automotive giant Ford said ahead of the speech, "Our business needs three things from the UK government: ambition, commitment and consistency. A relaxation of 2030 would undermine all three." While carmaker Kia expressed its disappointment at the changes, saying that it alters complex supply chain negotiations and product planning. Meanwhile, energy giant E.ON called it a misstep on many levels. However, it's worth noting that some carmakers, including Toyota and Jaguar Land Rover, welcome the changes as pragmatic. Unsurprisingly, the Labour Party weren't quite so forgiving, quickly seizing on this sense of general industry discomfort, with Keir Starmer saying that a Labour government would provide the stability that business needs to attract investment, create jobs, and grow our economy for working people.
All right. I mean, those are nice words. You really do need to back that shit up, though.
Now, despite Sunak's insistence that his speech and announcements were not about politics, Conservative Party HQ sent out an email of questions for Labour very quickly after his speech ended, further highlighting that this is a political battleground that they want to draw Labour into. Labour, for their part, responded to Rishi Sunak's announcement by recommitting to the original 2030 ban on new petrol and diesel cars, and pledging to scrap Sunak's delay if they win the next election.
I mean that's something, but that's not exactly money in my pocket. You know what I mean? That's good brinkmanship. That's a nice aside, but talk about tax cuts for the middle class. You know what I mean? We need a fucking break. The middle class needs a fucking break, dude. It has been nonstop slaughter since COVID and before COVID. Inflation was already a bitch before COVID started. And it has just been non-fucking stop, dude. Everything, prices going up and nothing going down. Wages staying stagnant. We need a break. Where's the policy?
But the party hasn't been drawn into stating its position on the question of boilers. More widely, though, the UK has a relatively strong consensus on climate change and net zero. But this speech, despite Sunak restating his commitment to 2050, suggests that this consensus is being chipped away, and that the Conservative leadership hope to make it a major feature in the next general election. The real question for Labour, then, is do they take the fight to the Conservatives by championing environmental policies as not only a moral imperative, but also financially sensible and cost-effective? Or do they cede ground to the Tories and water down their own commitments too? Or do they just try and not be drawn into the fight at all?
I know, Leon. You're damn solid.
This is a super important topic.
No, Leon, you're one of the best examples of what I talk about. You're taking initiative. You're putting yourself in a leadership position. You're doing exactly what I recommend. So you're one of the most on top of it members of the News Underground, without a doubt.
Not just electorally, with the future of the global environment, our political systems, and even our wider social order at stake. As David Wallace Wells explains in his book, The Uninhabitable Earth, climate change could radically upend how everything we talk about at TLDR works.
It's happening.
And if you want to learn more about what Wells has to say, then the best way to do that could be by...
Yeah, download some fucking app, do some thing. Like and subscribe to TLDR News. Good, lovely video. Love these guys. You know, they're fucking millennials. It drives me crazy. But what can I do? I'm just jealous of their success. That's what's going on. But no, here's a different kind of recap.
But the car industry hit back, saying Rishi Sunak's policy shift is anti-growth, anti-ambition, and of course, anti-environment. But Liz Truss has welcomed the move of the electric vehicle deadline, something she called for earlier in the week. Let's take a look. I'm sorry, but if Liz Truss ever suggests anything and then 2 days later you decide it's a good idea, then you may as well just go and kill yourself.
Oh, whoa, Johnny,
the day
whoa.
after, experts revealed that climate change likely caused the storm that threw a third of Derna into the ocean, killing thousands of people. On the same day, the UN chief said that humanity has opened the gates to hell as he warns of a 2.8 degree global temperature increase. On the same day, it was reported that 98% of Europeans are breathing highly polluted air linked to 400,000 deaths a year. Rishi Sunak announces a second look at climate change policy and a change in the way politics is done. Yet, Rishi Sunak, the nation's greenwasher and gaslighter in chief's speech, was, predictably, 50% meaningless sound bites, 30% disingenuous bullshit, and 20% unwarranted self-praise. He was just making shit up. Which isn't exactly a new way of doing politics, is it? He's putting a stop to taxes for meat eaters, a tax that has never existed. He's saved us from being forced, presumably at gunpoint, to rip out our boilers, which was never actually an actual policy. And Rishi 7 Bins Sunak has saved Britain from an imaginary recycling hell. 7 bins? Look, mate, if you find recycling too confusing, you shouldn't really be running the country. But he's doing all this because, unfortunately, net zero will make...
Was that him trying to exaggerate how hard it is to recycle? I'm not quite sure of the quote, but that's what it sounds like. Did he try to say you have to sort your... Like Rishi Sunak, like he's sorting his own garbage. Like that's a big problem for Rishi Sunak. You kidding me? He ain't touching the garbage. What a joke. Isn't Rishi Sunak the one that's had like 6 kids and bragged about never changing a diaper? Wasn't that Rishi Sunak? No, that was James Rees-Mogg. That was Mogg. That was Mogg who said that. Mogg has had like 6 kids and he brags about, I've never touched a nappy. My nanny, he said my nanny would kill me.
Make the cost of living crisis worse, and he wants to stop that. Really? Really? Because if this really is about...
Oh, okay. So there is 7 bins. There is 7 bins, and he's trying to... I'm going to make your life easier by reforming and removing the 7 bins. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's really the problem that people are having, right? They're going to the grocery store and they're fucking, draining their bank account, and they're going, "Oh, those goddamn 7 bins at home. I hate them." Oh, and there isn't 7 bins. Jesus Christ. I mean, this guy sucks on ice, dude. It's just like, get off the stage, man. If this is how you're going to do it, because he's a dead man walking politically, Rishi Sunak. He knows it. And it's like, if this is how you're going to act, this is just pathetic.
And he wants to stop that. Really? Really? Because if this really is about helping hardworking families with their energy and transport costs, well, fuck me. What took you so fucking long?
Yeah, Zio, dude, great point.
Because you've been screwing us all up the shitbox for 13 fucking years. Why the change of heart? They're not doing it because they believe in it. They're doing it because ULEZ isn't popular and they think it will win them a couple of votes. No real direction, no real belief, no idea what they're doing. Just hurling yet another populist morsel, this time for a policy they either won't be in government to implement or whose goalposts they can change depending on the weather. The extremely deadly weather. It's net zero, not economic incompetence, that is hurting your wallets. It's net zero, not profiteering,
100%.
That's driving up your energy bills.
100%.
It's net zero that will torch the economy. Really? Net zero?
I agree, Lenny.
The government's Rwanda policy cost 120 million. Test and trace, 37 billion. Barges, 1.6 billion. 26 billion in fraud waste overseen by our now Prime Minister. Liz Truss, 30 billion. 30 billion just for existing. She cost the taxpayer 30 billion just for being a thing. But it's decent loft insulation that's fucking the economy, that's hurting your wallets. It's fictional taxes on sausages and stability
Me too.
in the
I'm gonna be
automobile
fishing
industry
later.
that's keeping you in poverty. Yeah. Here's one for you. What car does Rishi Bin Sunak drive? The Ford Fiasco. It's good, isn't it? Well, Sunak may...
Shut the fuck up, Johnny Pie. Anyway, make sure you like and subscribe to TLDR News and Johnny Pie, folks. No, I don't have a boat, but the place, this cabin that I rent actually has some fishing poles right over there that I can use. Oh, it's fun. It's great. I'm going to buy some worms, just hang out, you know, smoke a little weed, throw a line in the water. It's a good time. It's a good time. But no, I mean, Rishi Sunak can't leave government sooner. He can't leave government sooner. As always, some opposite flavor of waffle. I mean, that's my worry. It's not going to be as bad. We all know that's the case, right? With Rishi Sunak, with Keir Starmer, we know that it won't be as bad. But you know, the problem is that there's no mandate. It's just assumed that they're going to get in. People are just absolutely sick of the Tories. But where's the mandate? What are they, you know, and they're not promising. They're not promising the big, like, where's the big policy? You know, where's the big promise? And they don't have to. They just have to basically just sit on their ass and stay consistent with their messaging and wait for leadership to fall into their lap so they don't have to promise anything. And that can be a problem. That can be a problem. And let me tell you, out here in the United States, you don't hold the neoliberals, you don't pressure them to do anything. It's, oops, we couldn't do it because of the parliamentarian, and they won't be able to achieve things that will actually prevent their destruction. Because we saw that with the Voting Rights Act here in the United States. The neoliberals needed to pass the Voting Rights Act so that they could stay viable as a party against the Republicans' attack on democracy, and they couldn't even get it done. So... anyway, so there you go. That's my UK coverage. Let's go ahead and move on. Said I was going to keep it tight as an hour. We're already at minute 55. Have to talk about the Greenbelt here. 1 second.
I'll bet there are a lot of people sitting back right now and thinking, wow, he did it. He reversed course.
Yeah.
I made a promise to you.
No, and this is great. This is a total victory for my 3-step program, right? This only happened because of public pressure, because the public demanded investigations into the collusion. You know, if the public ignored this, if there was no protesting, if everyone was just keeping quiet, this would have been swept under the rug, and all the collusion between these contractors and Doug Ford would have just gone under the rug, and they would have sold off chunks of the Greenbelt that this motherfucker over here, this Guy Fieri fucking cosplayer over here, this Guy Fieri cosplayer would have gotten away with breaking a direct promise. So this is what happens when people stand up, and yes, things can change. Things can change with activism. It is possible. It's not set in stone. It's never set in stone, but they pretend like it's set in stone every time they make a fucking decision. Oh, we can't go back. We can't do that. It's too late. It's too late. No, it isn't. It's never too late. And the big reason why he's doing this is because he's feeling the heat from the investigations, and he wants all the investigations to go away before the re-election. So let me tell you, folks, you got to keep them accountable, and shit will change.
Wow, he did it. He reversed course.
I made a promise to you that I wouldn't touch the Greenbelt. I broke that promise. And for that, I am very, very sorry.
Yeah, bitch. Sure. And I'm a motherfucking Martian sitting on Mars.
Not that this is a man incapable of admitting when he's got something wrong.
I'm sorry we acted too quick on the measures. The reason I'm here, and I'm apologizing because.
Look, if you're like, wow, what the fuck, this guy looks weak. Apologizing actually works in Canadian politics. We're drunk on maple syrup over here, okay?
We moved too quick.
But it's just that in this case, on this file, the Greenbelt, this huge trap.
I'm sorry, did I say UK or Canadian politics? I meant to say Canadian politics. Apologizing works in Canadian politics. I think I said UK I don't know. I'm too high for this. The sun is directly in my fucking. I didn't think this through at all. I just saw the backdrop, and then as soon as I started streaming, the clouds went away, and now I'm getting motherfucking heat blasted here. I'm losing my mind. I'm sweating my ass off. Okay, I did say Canadian. All right, I'm sorry. I'm getting heat stroke. Okay, back to it.
Active lands surrounding the Greater Toronto Area that he swore to protect. He seemed so committed to barreling forward with development.
There's hundreds of thousands of people that don't have homes. When we have a housing crisis, I have two.
So he's trying to give his contractor buddies a fucking hand job. Meanwhile, he's saying he's doing this to help the housing crisis. But bro, we got plenty of space to build. There's all kinds of places to build. He's acting like, oh, the only place we could possibly build is on the Greenbelt. I mean, so dishonest.
Options, Colin. I sit back like the other government did and let the whole province fall.
If you're unsure what a Greenbelt is, it's this long strip of land. So when they make like a suburb or a subdivision, they fucking bulldoze everything. Well, in certain places, that actually care about the environment and the ecology of the area, they save a strip of that land so that the ecology can continue to survive. I actually live right next to a green belt. It's absolutely pleasant. It's totally nice. 100% protected. Developers will never develop on it. It's fenced off. It's like having a little chunk of forest right next to you. And it really changes, it makes it more pleasant to live in the, backroom style hellscape of a fucking, suburb style subdivision with the same fucking house repeated over and over and over again. So it's really, really nice. And it's actually it helps with things like flooding and, forest fires and all different kinds of issues. A greenbelt can actually really help, with the environment in many different ways. And that's why they exist. And this, and this guy, I mean, he campaigned. He said, I'm not going to touch the Greenbelt. I'm not going to touch the Greenbelt. And then immediately, almost fucking day one, started the process of selling off chunks of the Greenbelt to developers, right? So that they could bulldoze it and build, expensive, gaudy condos there.
Apart, or we move forward and we build homes.
But one by one, the house of cards came down. We learned more and more about the billions of dollars in benefits to developers, the complete lack of transparency, and how, as far as plans go, this one was very poorly thought out.
As a first step,
hey, Lenny, have yourself a good day, buddy. Thank you for coming in.
I'll be reversing the changes we made and won't make any changes to the Greenbelt in the future.
Yeah, that's right,
because even if you do something for the right reasons, with the best...
Oh, I did it for the right reasons with the best of intentions. Shut up, Doug. The investigation will show otherwise, you corrupt son of a bitch.
Even if you do something for the right reasons, with the best of intentions...
This guy...
it can still be wrong.
Shut up.
This is the story of Doug Ford's Greenbelt catastrophe.
Premier, it's Richard Southern from City News 680. It was clear from the get-go something wasn't right. You admitted that. Why did it take all this for you to reverse this?
Chem Goblin, that is a great point. Lenny would be like, okay, boys, you're wearing your damn safety vest. If you're gonna get on the damn your life, what do they call fucking? Boy, shows how much of a Navy man I am. What the fuck is it? Life preserver? Anyway.
From the beginning, Doug Ford has taken a lot of heat for this plan to carve up about 7,400 acres of the Greenbelt for development. That's because the law on this was explicitly written to prevent this.
Totally Zeoduke, yeah.
Prevent urban sprawl from gobbling up prime agricultural real estate and crucial wetlands.
Creeks like this and like having natural places makes the water cleaner. Wetlands in particular around here naturally filter the water that runs through. And also, waterways like this and the green space around them are really important for making sure this area doesn't flood, which is something that not a lot of people know.
But Doug Ford's rationale for carving up protected Greenbelt land has always been crystal clear.
What the fuck is the music? I didn't notice the music the first time I watched this. What the fuck is the music? What is this? You know, motherfucking, you know, like an episode of 24? What are we watching?
We have a housing crisis today that we didn't have 4 years ago. We are going to make sure we get housing built.
What we've learned since by reading this 100-page report from the Auditor General is that the whole process was rigged.
What followed cannot be described as a standard or defensible process.
One man, the Housing Minister's Chief of Staff, gave a small team an impossible task. Choose which parts of the Greenbelt to free up for development, but with 3 devastating catches. 1, you only have 3 weeks to do it. 2, because you only have 3 weeks, you should mostly only consider the sites I bring you.
By Zimmerman.
Only assessed 22 sites as options for removal from the Greenbelt, of which 21 were provided to them by the Housing Minister's Chief of Staff.
And 3, most of the sites I've brought you were brought to me directly by developers.
Damn,
whose land value
you're on
just
top of
went
shit.
up collectively by $8.3 billion thanks to the work you're about to do. Yeah. The process was an urban planning failure by almost any metric you can think of. Questions about infrastructure, agriculture, environment, development time, they were all, according to the Auditor General, pushed to the wayside. From this report, heads would roll, but the Premier held on for dear life.
Tried to double down.
Despite almost a year of public pressure and public defenses.
See, this is where activism came in. If we slept on this, if we just were cynical and said both sides and nothing will get done, it doesn't matter. We don't even bother showing up because it'll never change. He would have been able to skate right through.
1/3 of 1%. I'm going to repeat that number. 1/3 of 1% was taken out of the Greenbelt.
It really was the Auditor General report, and then another from the Ethics Commissioner that laid out with crystal clarity the case for why the province's Greenbelt plan was beyond problematic. The first to go was the man most directly implicated, Ryan Amato, the Housing Minister's Chief of Staff.
Yesterday, the Chief of Staff to Ontario's Housing Minister resigned, effective immediately.
But then the question was, how derelict in one's duties would the Housing Minister himself have to be not to have any idea how defective this whole process really was?
How is it possible you failed at this key role, at this pivotal moment for your government?
Yeah, but dirty crackhead. I mean, but the valuation of this property shot up like crazy, dude. You know, it went from almost nothing because it was protected land to like, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars instantly. So it was like a lot of profit if they were able to make it happen. It's basically almost free money.
I completely accept the responsibility.
Yeah, except he didn't. He actually refused to resign until he decided, no, he should resign.
Yeah.
Housing Minister Steve Clark.
And once again, this is the result of public pressure and activism. It would not have happened if that wasn't there.
Clark announcing his resignation on Labor Day, which puts into motion a series of cabinet changes.
That was, until that point, perhaps the greatest embarrassment.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, because they will never actually change. This is just a strategic move. You know, Zeoduke, you're definitely plugged in, man.
Embarrassment on this file for Doug Ford. He had so adamantly defended his minister, but then another one quit.
Until this afternoon, Khalid Rashid was in Doug Ford's cabinet as Minister of Public and Business Service Delivery. Now he has not only stepped down as minister, but also resigned from the PC caucus.
And without getting into the messy details, there was a scandal involving him, a developer who benefited from the Greenbelt deal, Las Vegas, and massages. But the point is, the walls never stopped closing. And now Ford
in
may have
Las
seen
Vegas.
no other choice forward but to just bail.
As I've shown in the past, and as I'm showing you today, when I make a mistake, I'll fix them.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Doug.
That's what I promised I would do. And in the next election, you'll have the chance to decide how I've done.
Now, Ford insists his heart was in the right place.
Shut
he maintains there is still an urgent need to build homes.
And I love how the news guy doesn't really dig into the motives, because I guess he doesn't want to speculate, but come the fuck on.
But after 2 scathing reports, 3 resignations, and an endless amount of scrutiny, controversy, and bad decisions, frankly, he decided maybe those urgently needed homes don't need to be built on the Greenbelt.
See what I mean about the back rooms? I mean, that's what this looks like. And the developers want to just like, they don't even want to have like a sliver of the area left over, right? Just demolish everything like they do in the United States, and just mile after mile after mile of this, dude.
After all. Now, there may still be an RCMP investigation.
No nature,
into exactly
all
what
cement.
happened. That's TBD. But the Premier's parting message, at least for today, nobody's perfect.
And I thank you for your understanding. And again, may God bless the people of Ontario.
Oh my God, dude. I'm gonna sue Doug Ford for molestation. I'm getting jerked off from all the way over here. I mean, that's what townhouses are, man. I had to buy one because I couldn't afford anything else, DCH. That's all we can get. All right, so I really do. I don't have time for it, but I realized that I don't have anything about the Azerbaijan situation. So let's all laugh at me. Okay, I spelled the first part of it right. I thought I was gonna fucking fuck it up really bad, but I do need to cover the Azerbaijan situation. Full blown war, conquer. I mean, were they conquered basically? Is that what happened? Does Azerbaijan exist anymore? So, crazy. Oh no, Azerbaijan claims full control. Ethnic Armenian leaders agree to disarm. So it's Armenia or whatever that doesn't exist. So, I mean, just like, this is like one of the things you ignore in history class, and you don't even bother like learning about, but it's happening right in front of us here.
Azerbaijan has restored its sovereignty. The events that occurred yesterday and today at the same time will have a positive impact on the peace process between Armenia and Azerbaijan. I want to hope that our steps, the results of anti-terrorist measures, will eliminate the obstacles that were put forward, express, propose, call it what you want, from the Armenian side. And this will create a new reality, long-term peace in the South Caucasus.
Yeah, no, I hear you, Leon. I hear you,
this
buddy.
enclave and
I'm not a supporter of Joe Biden, but
is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but it's being controlled by ethnic Armenians and has close links to the Armenian government.
Okay, now this is starting to ring more of a bell. Okay, so this is like a break-off area of Armenians, and they were trying to claim their own country, and Azerbaijan took control of it. So how long ago did this happen? Maybe this will give us a history.
Long-term peace in the South Caucasus.
This enclave and self-declared breakaway territory is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan.
I see.
But it's being controlled by ethnic Armenians and has close links to the Armenian government. Its perceived failure to support the territory, particularly after a war in 20...
I see. Okay, so this was, they were trying to do a Russia. They just like, oh, this is ours now, by the way. Didn't you know they all wanted independence and they want us to run it? Isn't that great? I mean, could you imagine if Canada did that shit? They just take North Dakota. The Canadian military occupies North Dakota. They're like, they do a fake referendum and they're like, oh yeah, all North Dakotans want to be Canadians now, guys. Didn't you know that North Dakota was always part of Canada?
2020 sparked protests in the capital, Yerevan.
Internal enemy, Nikol Pashinyan, rejected to support Armenian citizens.
Okay, so Russia is connected to this. Okay, so sorry, I'm not an expert on every single fucking thing in the world here, but I'm learning just right along with you guys here. But yeah, this is very interesting. So they took it back, and because Russia is so busy in Ukraine, they would probably be backing up Armenia. Normally, they'd be sending Wagner or someone else, but they're totally strapped. So now's the time to push back on that effort. Interesting.
Protests in the capital, Yerevan.
Internal enemy, Nikol Pashinyan, rejected to support
Wagner's not
Armenian
dead,
citizens who are now living there. So this is a shame of our nation.
It's something that we've been fighting for 30 years, more than 30 years.
Wow, okay, so this happened almost 30 years ago, okay.
And now it all went for nothing.
Armenia's prime minister denied having troops in Nagorno-Karabakh and said his government
DCH,
was
I'll
not
take a
part of
look.
the ceasefire process.
We hope the military escalation will not continue.
Yeah,
because
so
stability is very important for future.
I was wondering if that was the case, DCH, that this was like this goes even deeper, and this maybe Russia taking this opportunity, because we see that quite a bit with these ethnic populations. I'm thinking of Kosovo, right, where they're mistreated. They actually do want independence. So it sounds like it's pretty complicated. Thank you for that context, DCH. I appreciate that.
Future projects.
Both Armenia and Azerbaijan have gone to war over the region since the early 1990s. Russian peacekeepers will monitor the new ceasefire, and Azerbaijan says it will now start talks on reintegrating the region and its people. Alex Beard, Al Jazeera.
Wow.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.
Oh man, they picked the right news host to tell me about that. Okay, so this is 2 years ago. All right, so I mean, guys, I don't have time for the deep dive, but I promise you, next weekend when I'm back at the Hacienda, we will do an absolute motherfucking hour-long deep dive into Azerbaijan. And so that we get better idea of what the hell's going on and where we go from here. What's going to happen? Yeah, this shit is complicated. I mean, what's going to happen to this ethnic minority now? You know, that, you know, I mean, because I mean, oftentimes we see this is how genocides start, or this is how, at the very least, like a systemic apartheid style abuse starts with these ethnic minorities. So let's hope that that's not the case. But let's do a deep dive next weekend, okay? Because we got to get to our final subject, and that is, of course, Ukraine. Ukraine. Where's my tunage, man? I need some tunage while we're switching. Flat. Just got to cover the latest news out of Ukraine. You know? Yeah, dude, the whole history of Armenia, Azerbaijan from 1921 has been complicated because the Nagorno-Karabakh SSR puppet Russia created as a buffer state between the two collapsed in grand fashion. And Azerbaijan grabbed Nachevian and fought for years to grab Karabakh. Man, for a disgusting, dirty crackhead, you sure do know a lot about history. That is amazing. Assume they'll just build more and devolve into regional areas. All right. You guys have some great comments here. I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time for your amazing comments. I'm sorry. But Leon, the situation used the example to explain enclaves, and enclaves are the third level. Build more, devolve it to regional areas. Shame we won't make socialist progress. Yeah, it'll be very positive in terms of the economy. Yeah, I mean, talk about we should be spreading some democracy, right? Ukraine's literally attacking the entirety of Russia's occupied territories. It's amazing. It is, Tisrael. It's like 1,000 missiles and like 100 drones. So yeah, no, it's pretty amazing what's happening in Ukraine. Can I post a link? I don't have time. I don't have time. Is it really quick? Is it a 2-minute video? If it's a 2 or 3 minute video, yes. But if it's not a 2 or 3 minute video, then no. But I promise you we'll have more time. All right, post it. Let's see it. Ford, you've been pretty awesome. So This better not be a beheading. I better be careful. Hold on. One of these days, you motherfuckers are gonna send me a beheading, and that's the end of my streaming career right there. Ah, yeah, okay. Sorry, but okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, I mean, Israel, Joe Biden. I mean, this doesn't really surprise me. But let's see what this link is. I'm sorry, but Joe Biden reacting to Netanyahu calling him a friend by doing the cross is the funniest thing of all time. Wait, he did the cross? What, like the Jesus cross?
Friends for, I've checked it, over 40 years, and our friendship goes a long way.
Man, okay, wow, that was just some cringe pandering. Wow, dude. I mean, can you know what would be really nice is if the United States stopped pretending like they cared about Palestinian people. You know, stop the canard, stop the lie that Uncle Sam cares about the Palestinian people. God, that was disgusting pandering. Ugh. He's a right-wing demagogue. He's not a priest. You know what I mean? He's a disgusting right-wing fucking demagogue who had to do a coalition with Ben-Gvir, who's even worse. He's not a priest. He's not a representative of, you know, of any deity. Joe Biden, oh, Israel, the sacred Israel. Oh, Israel, the great. It's really pathetic at this point. It's really pathetic. Just blow your load with Iran. Can we get this war with Iran over with so that we can stop pretending like Israel is the most important fucking country on human fucking Earth? You know what I mean? On planet fucking Earth? Can we, because that's what the whole thing is. The United States is just, once the war with Iran starts, the United States is going to be putting Israeli soldiers on the front line. It's canards everywhere, bro. It's canards. I love that word. But that's what it is. It's like this whole manufactured package of lies. That's what a canard is. It's like this whole package of gaslight. But yeah, just get the war with Iran over with already so we can stop pretending that Israel is the most important country on the fucking planet Earth. All right, but let's get over to Ukraine. Thank you for that link. Ukraine launches the attack on Russian naval headquarters. This happened today, or I guess yesterday, technically. But yeah, I mean, naval headquarters, and I'm also going to be showing a video where they launched 100 drones and 1,000 cruise missiles or missiles of some sort at an airport in Crimea. So I mean, they're softening up these important strategic targets, and yeah, not spending their resources going after civilians like Russia is. They're actually going after critical military targets, softening up Crimea for the eventual liberation of Crimea, folks. It's fucking happening. It is fucking happening. Right? It's very exciting stuff. So let's dig in. Sorry for the CNN, but mainstream opinion. Let's see what we got.
This hour with breaking news. Ukraine launching a missile attack on Russia's naval headquarters. We're going to show you some video. You can see the smoke rising in this video. This is the city of Sevastopol. It is one of the largest cities in the Ukrainian peninsula of Crimea and was illegally annexed by Moscow's forces in
Save big money at Menards. Nobody in the UK or outside the United States and specific states would even understand that reference. Boom!
2014. Russian state media says debris is, quote, scattered for hundreds of meters. Now, Ukrainian officials have not yet commented on the incident. It has been an area.
They're going to run from Crimea.
Specific strategic.
Once that bridge is true, and once the Kerch bridge is true and finally fucking blown up, yeah, that's when the panic's going to start. That's when the panic's going to start.
Target the Ukrainians have spoken about.
When that bridge goes down.
In the course of this entire conflict, CNN's Katie Polglaze has more. What do we know at this moment? I know this is breaking and moving quickly. What's your understanding of things on the ground?
Well, clearly, as you can see from that video there, this is a quite major attack on Russia's naval headquarters in that region. That is highly significant and a clear success from the Ukrainian side. And let's not forget, this has happened in just a week of several other major attacks in the Crimea area as well. This is clearly part of a pattern that Ukraine is conducting with increasing frequency. Just yesterday, we were talking about the Saki Air Base as well. 12 military aircrafts targeted there. Last week, we were also talking about Sevastopol. Again, a port there, a ship repair facility that was targeted. Again, all of this is targeting Russia's infrastructure, the areas that Russia is using to build the war effort that it is conducting in this area. And clearly, the headquarters of its naval fleet is the biggest target of all. You can see in this video here, huge smoke erupting from some of these areas. This is clearly a very alarming sight, and the Sevastopol governor, the Russian-appointed governor in that area, has told people to stay in shelter, stay inside, not go into the city center. That is clearly an indication that they still see it as quite dangerous. There's also indications that the debris has scattered quite wide as well, about 100 meters around the area. So clearly quite a major attack that we're seeing happening right now.
Thank you so much for that reporting. We are watching some of the video there where you see those huge plumes of smoke. I'm sure we will get more so we can see the scene where you talk about there's 100 meters of debris spread all over the place. Let me go now to retired Colonel and CNN military analyst Cedric Layton, who is joining us now. Talk about the significance of Sevastopol, the headquarters of the Russia's Black Sea Fleet. It has now been intact, but this is the same place that's been really involved in the blockade of keeping Ukrainian ships from being able to do their job and take their routes.
That's exactly right, Sarah. One of the key things about
I'm almost done, Zio.
It's the headquarters of that Black Sea Fleet, and it's in that perfect position, as you mentioned, to keep those grain shipments occurring. So the fact that the Ukrainians are going after this indicates not only are they going after what would normally be called control nodes, such as headquarters like this, but it's also a statement to the Russians that if they move forward with blocking grain shipments from the Ukrainians, they can actually have some consequences. And the consequences in this case are that their headquarters, their installations are going to be attacked. So this is really upping the ante as far as the Ukrainians are concerned. What they're doing is they're in essence trying to decapitate the Black Sea
Welcome back,
Fleet.
Estonian.
They had back at the beginning of the war, we may remember the sinking of the Moskva, the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Well, this is the headquarters of that flagship, and they're able to attack it fairly much with impunity, I would say.
Yeah, hell yeah, boy.
To that point, this has long been, I think, a strategic focus of the Ukrainian forces. We're now learning from the Russian government, the Russian side, that at least one Russian soldier was killed in this attack. The strategic value of it from the broader conflict perspective, what does this do for Ukraine? Is this to make people nervous, scared, we can reach you anywhere you are, or does this have a bigger picture effort tied to it?
Well, it actually has both implications, Phil. So yes, we can reach you anywhere is one aspect of what the Ukrainians are doing. The other thing is that it's a warning to the Russians that every single thing that they do will meet with a response from the Ukrainians. And from a strategic perspective, if you knock out something like the Black Sea Fleet.
Okay, my entire computer.
Their headquarters, then what you're doing is
I think the sun hitting my laptop is actually slowing it down, guys. So sorry. Sorry about that. My entire laptop is having a fucking seizure right now. It can't handle it. The fan is currently kicked in as hard as it can to push this heat out. Let's see if it can work through it.
You're making it really difficult for them to exercise command and control over those naval assets. And when they do that, it makes it really difficult for the Russians.
It's not the internet, it's the laptop.
So we're seeing the Ukrainians with a strategy that in essence involves going after the top echelons of the Russian military and the Russian military echelons that are really impacting them. A lot of those missile strikes that are affecting southern Ukraine come from the Black Sea Fleet, from the Black Sea, and those installations there and the ships that are in that sea. And so if those installations and those ships aren't being controlled properly, then that limits the Russians' effectiveness in this war.
Cedric Leighton, thank you so much for giving us that insight. And just again to sort of
Okay, thank you so much. All right, so let's go ahead and get our final video here. Map update from your boy reporting from Ukraine, and it's a lot of good news. It's a lot of fucking good news, guys. I love to see it. Fucking love to see it. And let me tell you, man, the Ukrainians out here clearing these trenches, getting these artillery pieces as close as humanly possible, shooting and scooting, running through oceans of mines to make all this happen. I mean, these guys are heroes in every sense of the word.
Day 575. Today the strikes in the south reached peak intensity. Ukrainians conducted the biggest drone strike in the war, combining it with Storm Shadow missiles, while Russians launched almost 100 missiles in retaliation.
Wow.
First of all, in response to yesterday's devastation on the Russian bases inflicted by the Ukrainian strike, Russian forces decided to respond reciprocally and retaliated with the missile strike as well.
Wow.
The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Russians launched 43 missiles and that 36 of them were intercepted.
So 36 out of 43. Not bad. Not bad. You know, we got to give them more tools. We got to give them more anti-air, folks, so that they can continue to defend themselves. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. And, you know, the goal should be perfect. If the deficiency is coverage, they should be getting more.
Still, the remaining 7 missiles hit Ukrainian cities. The first target of the Russian strike became a substation connected to one of the thermal power plants in Rivne. This was the first time in a very long time since Russians targeted Ukrainian energy infrastructure. As a result, 5 cars parked in the
Wow, it's actually newsworthy that they went after a legitimate military target for once.
vicinity were damaged, and some parts of the city temporarily lost electricity. The second target became the Hotel Centralna in Cherkasy.
And then there you go, another fucking civilian target. I'm so sick of Russia and their terror campaign. You know, watching World War II history, you learn about how, you know, Hitler decided to, you know, do a terror campaign bombing against Britain, and he diverted resources away from attacking strategic, you know, frontline positions so that he could terrorize the people in the UK and in Britain. And it was a complete strategic failure. It was a bad idea. It did not work.
Russian sources claim that the hotel was used as a base for foreign mercenaries. However, the abundant footage from the first moments of the strike till the end of evacuation shows that there are around 24 people in the hotel in total, all of them Ukrainian civilians. In Kyiv, Russians reportedly tried to hit the radio factory. However, judging by the hole in the ground in the backyard, the missile missed the target and fell in the residential area, damaging a lot of small houses, cars, and a dormitory. In Drohobychi, local residents reported hearing at least 3 explosions in the industrial area. Given the lack of footage, it seems like this time Russians hit a military object, possibly a warehouse with equipment. When it comes to the good,
I mean, by that time, Zio, it was already too late. It was just a bad, you know, because it was just him. It was just revenge. It was revenge bombing, you know, and it did not work. It got a lot of people killed, but it did not help the war effort.
Good news, Ukrainians broke all records and conducted the biggest drone strike in this war. The Russian Ministry of Defense reported that over the last day, they intercepted 75 drones, 19 of which in the morning, and also 5 Storm Shadow missiles. In light of the abundance of footage of explosions, the analysts concluded that Ukrainians launched more than 100 drones and up to 24 of missiles. The main target of this strike became the Russian airfield in Novofedorivka. Ukrainian intelligence reported that at the moment of this strike, Russians had 12 fighter jets of various types and 1 air defense Pantsir. The airfield is also used as a training base for operators of drone Mojaher, so there are a lot of aerial targets. We have seen footage of explosions from drone strikes in this region already yesterday. However, this was just to exhaust and overload the Russian air defense prior to a missile strike.
Makes sense.
In fact, in order to create a safe passage, Ukrainians also sent groups of drones to Rozdolna, Daleka and Mizhgorodny from the north, and Balbek airfield and Sevastopol from the west. After that, Ukrainians launched Neptune missiles at the airfield.
So that's really, really smart. The distraction is cheap. Easily produced drones. I mean, it's still, it costs money, and it's material and all that, but it's much cheaper, much more cost efficient, right? To create that opening, and then you send the expensive shit through. Very smart, man. I mean, it's just, and people over here saying our money's being wasted. I mean, the Iraq-Afghanistan war, Vietnam, right? Massive waste of money, pallets of money disappearing, right? Bribing warlords for a little information, and it turns out it was totally false, and they lied to us. So I get why people are cynical, but that is just not the case in Ukraine. I mean, we're just talking about a completely different set of circumstances here with the Ukrainian war and how Uncle Sam is tied into it. It's just, if you're trying to make like apples to apples comparisons, you're either being intentionally dishonest, or you're just ignorant to the situation. I mean, honestly, we're talking about completely different situations here, and I've you know what I mean? Like one thing that I'm worried about is that the United States is gonna think that because of the success that they're having in Ukraine, that they're gonna be able to apply this template to other future scenarios successfully. You know what I mean? Because it's unbelievable how well it's working out, supporting Ukraine and pushing back against Russia. Hello, Augusto Francisco. Hello.
Field. As a result, it was reported that Russian aviation suffered significant damage and destruction. Some Russian sources also mentioned that Russians also lost at least 30 soldiers.
Yeah, DCH, that's true.
Later, the Ukrainian General Staff confirmed that they conducted a combined attack on the airfield. Nonetheless, this was not the only successful strike today. Geolocated footage suggests that a lot of targets were hit around Sevastopol as well. So far, there is not enough information regarding the target of this strike. However, more information became available about yesterday's strike in this place. Recently released satellite footage from Planet Labs shows the aftermath of the Storm Shadow strike on the command post of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Ukrainian intelligence reported that this was communication center number 744 of the Russian command. The Russian command used this previously abandoned base instead of the main one because Ukrainians already hit the main headquarters with the drones in the past. Unfortunately for Russians, the safety measures did not help. By the way, after evacuating all of their submarines from Sevastopol, Russians started evacuating all assault landing ships. So it looks like Crimea no longer has its fleet, and after today, also aviation.
Oh, no shit. What? No, he's being hyperbolic.
Did not help. By the way, after evacuating all of their submarines from Sevastopol, Russians started evacuating.
Oh, so because of the recent strikes, they've evacuated all these ships from Sevastopol. Okay.
In all assault landing ships. So it looks like Crimea no longer has its fleet, and after today, also aviation. In the meantime, Ukrainians conducted a precision strike on another Russian command center, this time in Melitopol. Ukrainian intelligence found out that Russia started using a former engine factory, communicated this information to the Air Force, and together destroyed it. As a result, dozens of officers were killed and dozens hospitalized, including the commander of the Russian 58th Army. In order to verify the extent of the...
All right, so then he gets into the advertisement here for grime.com or whatever. It's a really cool app. Definitely recommend checking it out. All right, folks. Well, I mean, that is all the time I have today. Big props to everyone coming in. Thank you so much. Chem Goblin, Lenny, Davey, Estonian, Husky, Snow, Dirty Crackhead, Zio Duke. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. It is greatly appreciated. Tisriel, thank you for coming in, Tisriel. Big props to everybody coming in. Ford the Perfect, and yeah, no, Ford, that's such a I love the name because Hitchhiker's Guide is actually literally my most favorite novel in the world, is the Hitchhiker's Guide series. I love them dearly. Thank you, Leon, for coming in. Thank you for your links there, Leon. Very much appreciated. And all you lurkers out there as well. Thank you so much to all you lurkers, helping me get that view count up as high as possible. So yeah, I'm just chilling, folks. This is my little vacation out here in the cabin. So I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of my vacation, and I'll probably do a midweek stream. I got to do another War and Peace stream, so you can look forward to that. We're going to be doing some more War and Peace, and of course we will be covering Azerbaijan this Saturday. So make sure to put those Azerbaijan links in the Discord. Go ahead and put the link in the Discord right here. Also, folks, I do have a YouTube. If you really want to help me out and bring my YouTube subscription count up, that would actually really help me out. If you want to help a brother out, I gotta probably not call myself a brother. That would probably be a good idea. I'll get in trouble doing that. But no, folks, I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you follow Lenny's example. Go out and do some fishing. Go out and enjoy yourself. Enjoy your weekend. I've been pretty depressed and cynical lately. So I've been trying to take some time to appreciate what I have. And, and it's important to do that. It's important to think about where you could be, how bad things could get, and it helps you appreciate what you have. They're so generic. I don't think so. I'm sure someone would have a problem with it. I'll put some of that information I gave clarity to the Trouble Pet. Yeah, thank you, DCH. Go ahead and put some links in the Discord there, please. But no, everybody, make sure you follow Leon's example and you follow the 3-step program. Okay, step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, join a progressive political organization or run for office directly. Leon did that. He's out here canvassing. He's putting his name down, and he's following step 3, which is putting in the motherfucking work. Okay? Leon is asking himself, what can I do for the movement? How can I help the left progressive movement to create real change? There's a brotherhood of man. Don't forget that. So true. So true. I don't want to be another one of those white guys co-opting black culture, but I love I just like every white guy, I love black culture. I think it's amazing. So what can you do, right? So when you do that stream, you can understand, I don't know what's wrong with Azerbaijan to flip the grab. Yeah. I figured there was a more complicated history there with because anytime you hear ethnic minority, it's like, oh, there we go. They're being oppressed, right? They're being oppressed. Yeah. They want independence and they're not being given it. Yeah, okay. I get it. Sometimes it's legit, sometimes it's outrageous, right? It's like, oh, we deserve our own nation because, we're the Church of Islam, and it's like, no, you don't. But sometimes it's like, no, we've been here for hundreds of years, and this is historically our area, and it was taken over by a war, but we would like it back, and so a lot of the time it's like that. So we're gonna learn about more of that over the weekend. But yeah, once again, folks, peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. They're kicking butt, kicking ass every day. Don't listen to the haters about not making progress. My left nut, they're not making progress. They're making amazing progress for the situation that's in front of them. So we got to double down on that support, and feel good about that support. Legitimate democracy. I feel good about supporting Ukraine. I do. Like the Green Party. I mean, look, I don't care. I mean, even if you're joining a leftist organization that I don't necessarily agree with, that's still progress. That's still something. Right? Sure, join the Green Party. I would disagree with you. I would say your time is better spent in other places. But I'll take the Green Party over just voting. Over just voting. Because just voting is not enough. It's not enough. I would love it to be enough, because then I could focus and play more video games. Okay? It's not enough. So, I want to get back to video games here, so let's fix our fucking country. All right, everybody. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. We'll see you soon. Do another one later this week. My vacation. I'm on vacation now. I'm gonna go get some fried food. I'm gonna eat some hot dogs. Hunt for supper. That's what the dog's for. That's what the dog is doing. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. This has been the News Underground, and I am Abandoned Nihilism, the harbinger for what's to come. Thank you.